Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my fine friends. Welcome to, I don't know, what is it, episode 251, I think now, of the Tom Petty Project podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Brown, reporting to you from Gainesville, Florida on day 2 of the Tom Petty Weekend 2025. My God, what a day. I mean, yesterday was amazing. Today, I just can't even begin to explain how good the music was and what a phenomenal time I've had down here. Yeah, it's just been absolutely sensational. So the Eight Sisters open things up, and they're incredibly cool. And then at 2:45 on the indoor stage, I finally got to see Jake Thistle perform live in person. I mean, I saw him yesterday with Jeff, but that was more of a pop-up thing. And seeing Jake on his own on stage singing Tom Petty songs, just with his acoustic guitar. I mean, the guy is just the nicest human being. Chatted with him a few times. I sat down to chat with Jake and also a couple of other people. We'll talk about, but I don't have time tonight. Interviews merged into the episode, so I'll probably do a recap or something when I get back, or I'll figure out how I'm going to do that so that you can hear my conversations with some of these people. Jake's off to Nashville tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. He's got a 4 a.m. flight to do some recording, and after that, he's off to Europe for a 16-day tour. I mean, just the world's opening up for this guy, and I couldn't be happy for him. On the indoor stage also, I saw a young girl. I should say that. I don't know how young she is. Well, she's fairly young. Named Maggie Clifford, who just absolutely blew me away. I don't know if I've ever been in a room with a musician who is so intense and sort of intently focused on what she's doing, to sort of the point that, and in a good way, I mean this, that she almost at times, I think, forgets that the audience there because she's so zoned into what these songs she's singing mean to her and how she's performing them. And you could hear, someone said, or saw from after, you could hear a pin drop in that room. And like I said, this is not in a bad way, because everyone was just completely wrapped with the performance on stage. And so the energy and the intensity of this performance. And I spoke to Maggie afterwards as well, and I had a good chat. She's fantastic. I'm definitely going to be seeking out her stuff from now on. Ronnie Gregg and Blackie Ray were great. They're part of Southern Accents, a Tom Petty tribute band. So I'm going to be touching base with them to get them on the podcast at some point in future. Robin Shakedown. So Robin Vincent, I believe, is her name. I'm going to try and speak to you tomorrow because she's part of Robin Shakedown band, but she did a solo set, which I just caught at the end of, and it was super punk and raw and interesting and a bunch of energy. It was super, super cool. Then on the outdoor stage was Nancy Luca band. Nancy Luca is 67 years old and she is still rocking hard. And she's got a song called I Play Guitar, which again, I'm going to look some of this stuff, but some of these bands that I had never heard of, I'm going to be looking up. Again, absolutely superb. After Nancy, myself, my friend Pete Nesta, and my friend Brad Gould, who I know through the And the Podcast Will Rock podcast. So he drove up from his home further south in Florida to hang out, and very kindly came up to see me, which is crazy that people would, drive 2-3 hours just to hang out with an idiot like me. But nonetheless, me, Pete, and Brad had a really good visit, and we went to eat at the original American kitchen. And I had shrimp and grits for the very first time. Never had grits before, and I've always wanted grits because it just sounds southern. And for any of you who've seen My Cousin Vinny, grits is a thing in that, and that's how I learned about grits. And so I had, shrimp grits. So it was blackened, seasoned shrimp, incredibly delicious, a little bit spicy. And the grits had the hominy grits with cheese, peppers, onion, and a little bit of bacon. And probably everyone who listens to this podcast has had grits, but it's almost like a meal. And I don't say like a meal, but I mean meal. So it's mealy, and quite creamy, rich. It's got some nice texture to it, which I really enjoyed. So we sat and did that. And then we went back because I wanted to catch up with Jake Thistle again. So I sat down with Jake. We had a chat. Also today, I think it was before actually. And I chatted to, what was it? Yeah, I think it was just before. I chatted to Shine. So Shine and the Shakers, who performed later on. This woman is a force of nature, but the sweetest, loveliest, like most interesting person to sit and talk to. So we sat on the couch in the green room. We had a good chat. And then on the outdoor stage, Fortune Child came out and played, and they mainly did their own stuff. And they're kind of quite a heavy three-piece rock band. I would say sort of think maybe a cross between Black Keys and Black Crows, with his soups on a sort of swampy southern rock to it. A little bit of, I kind of get sort of a little bit of Sabbathy vibe with some of the riffs. Really, really heavy. My brother Dan, I think, would like them, so I'm going to send it to him. Also, I found out that someone in the room had recorded, just on their phone, but had recorded my entire let's call it presentation, my set, my presentation, and gave me the contact details. So they're going to send that off to me. So once I get that, and I'll clear it with Dan to make sure, because it was a VIP event, but I'll make sure Dan's okay with me posting. I'll post that up so you can see it. It was a good fun. It was a lot of fun, that session. After Fortune Child, Danny Roberts played on the inside stage, the indoor stage, and Danny used to be in Mudcrutch, but he's been a musician in his own right for 30 some years, so that was kind of cool. Then Shine hit the stage. Shine and the Shakers, they were just incredible. I mean, it was a fantastic performance, top to bottom. Shine did a whole bunch of Tom Petty. I think it was, don't think she did any Mudcrutch, if I remember rightly, but did just a phenomenal version of the Apartment song. Great band, really, really tight. The rhythm section was fantastic. Bass player was great. The drummer was great. After Shine had triumphantly left the stage, then Nancy Luca was again performed, but on the indoor stage, and with a couple of people came on and helped her with singing and duetting. But again, such an interesting artist because just her and a guitar, an electric guitar, she plays rock and roll. And it's dirty and loose and cool and authentic and just very sort of engaging and cool. To close out tonight on the outdoor stage, Jake Thistle and Jeff Slate with just one of the most smoking rock and roll bands you would ever see. 6-piece. So Jake and Jeff on vocals and guitars. The lead guitarist, and I don't remember the names of all the band members. Lead guitarist. The bass player is, I was talking about Pete and Brad about this, and everyone else who've listened. The bass player was this old dude wearing cowboy shirts and like a sweater and like red orange tinted aviator glasses, and like a hoodie. I'm probably the coolest human being I have ever seen in my life. So the band just absolutely torched it. They tore the roof off. Jeff and Jake both did a couple of their own songs too, and Jeff did Heartbreak, which I just love that song. And on the album, Duff McKagan actually from Guns N' Roses plays bass on that. And Jeff's got like this all-star cast of session musicians or sort of accompanying musicians who worked on an album with him, including Earl Slake and Dave Stewart produced one of the tracks. And Jeff's a great sort of artist in his own right. And Jeff and Jake just, I mean, watching those guys do Woman in Love, Honey Bee, You Don't Know What It Feels, just absolutely, oh no, the Jewel in the Crown was an extended version of, oh my goodness, it's gone. Good to Be King. It's Good to Be King. I mean, it was just sort of one of those songs I'm so glad I saw live. And one of those songs I'm so glad I saw those two perform live with that band. The drummer for that band was off the chain. You wouldn't necessarily call him a pocket drummer because he went wild a few times and he was sort of, I don't think he was like a super student of the Heartbreakers necessarily, but such a good musician, had such good feel and such good senses for the songs that is, even though his fills were all different, they were incredibly cool, but he was also really theatrical and dramatic in his drumming, and incredibly interesting to watch. And I went up and sort of shook his hand after the show and said, dude, that's one of my favorite drum performances I've ever seen. And he was super humble, super cool guy. I'm saying super a lot, aren't I, tonight? So, I mean, all in all, as you can tell, I'm tired now. It's 11, well, just going 12 now as I'm recording this in Gainesville. And I'm getting up early tomorrow morning as Brad is going to take me out to see the Gators. So we're going to go on a bit of a hike in some of the nature trails a little bit south of the city. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to try and pack as much as I can into this last day. There's the barbecue tomorrow as well. And then the last day of music including the Wallflowers as the closing act. So day 2 in Gainesville has been just as much, or if not more, fun than day 1. Again, it's always the people, and I mean, I've met so many people, and so many people come up to me and said they enjoyed my thing yesterday, which again is a bit mind blowing, but it just shows how lovely all these people are. And I signed my first autograph today. A lady came up to me and sort of gave me a pen and held out her lanyard thing, and I was like, "What do you want?" I just, and I'm being genuine, I just didn't know what she wanted me to do. I said, "Oh, well, get your autograph." I'm like, and I almost said, "Well, what, why?" And then I just thought, "Okay, well, that's kind of nice. That's kind of cool." So I just signed it, and my signature stinks. I've not got a big florid signature. I was going to work on that if I ever do this again. So I've actually got a signature that is worth having. um, so yeah, it's day 2. I mean, look, this festival is the most fun I've had in a long time on my own. I mean, I've had lots of fun with my family, and England was fantastic, but just for all the music, all the laughs, meeting people, and seeing a different place, eating great food, yeah, and hanging out with, again, I mean, Brad coming up to see me from more further south in Florida, and then hanging out with Pete. I mean, Pete and Esther, he and I have been online friends now for over 4 years now, and he's been listening to the podcast, as I said, really from the beginning. Has been a massive champion for him, what I'm doing, and and he's a great guy. And we were talking about that. Sometimes you meet people online, and if you meet in person, you're still a little bit. I think maybe I talked about this yesterday. You're still a little bit wary about, if there's going to be any chemistry. But again, hung out all day with Pete, and he's just the salt of the earth. Nicest possible guy you could meet. Super intelligent, really, really funny. Quite tall. So I can hide behind him if anything kicks off. But he's leaving tomorrow, so he's gonna be abandoning me. So it's just gonna be me and Brad riding. We're gonna be a double act. Like I said, I'm hoping to get a few more interviews in tomorrow, and then once I get back home, I'll put all those interviews into a single episode, maybe, and I'll tee up who each person is, and maybe give it a background, a little bit of research, give you a bit of background, and then all the links to the socials so that you can check them out, because there's so much talent at this festival. It's crazy. Like, and a lot of these people are not well known. I mean, she's a superstar. And none of you, if you're not in the Tom Petty Nation and you've never been to this festival, you probably don't know who Shine the Shakers are, you don't know who Shine is. But I do encourage you to check her out, because she's ferociously talented and an exceptional human being. So yeah, that's all from me today. What's my outro? I forgot my outro now. Keep listening to and sharing Tom's music. Say I love you to someone at least once a day, and stay safe and healthy. We'll be back with you tomorrow to wrap up day 3, the final day of the Tom Petty weekend for 2025. My God, if it's anywhere near as good as the last 2 days, I don't know if my brain will handle it. My brain's a little bit soupy right now because I just had so much fun. Man, it's been so much fun. So I'm looking forward. And I'm just going to speak to Jeff tomorrow as well. Jeff's like me, and I'm going to pull him aside and we're going to have a quick chat, because he's doing his pop-up acoustic solo set inside in the Heartwood. So I'll be speaking to Jeff. So until then, just take care of yourselves, and I will see you then. Bye.